Hi everyone. Today's topic Horegallu. It's a beautiful anecdote by Sudha Murthy. Sudha Murthy is one of the very famous English writer in Indian literature. So let's go to a beautiful anecdote Horegallu. Yes, let's move. Horegallu. Hot summer days remind me of my childhood in a little village. There was a large banyan tree right in the middle of the village, and I would spend many hours playing under it during my holidays. So Sudha Murthy, she reminded of her childhood days in a little village. And in her village, there was a large banyan tree in the middle of her village. And she would spend many hours playing under it during her holidays. So during her holidays, she spent many hours under this beautiful large banyan tree. The tree was like a massive umbrella. How the tree looked like? Yes, the tree looks like as a massive umbrella. The tree looks like an massive umbrella with its branches providing much needed shade and succor. Succor means support. So its branches, this banyan tree's branches, it provide much shade and support. Travelers spent some time sitting under it and catching their breath before going on their way. So what the travelers would do? The travelers spent some time sitting under it. The travelers would sit under this huge banyan tree and they would take a rest for a while. And they would catch their breath before going their way. Before going on their way. So what the travelers would do? The travelers would spend some time under this huge banyan tree and they would catch their breath before continuing their journey. So this large banyan tree was a very much support for the travelers who are passing nearby it. To make them comfortable, there was a Horegallu under the tree. To make them comfortable, to make their journey comfortable, there was a Horegallu under the tree. What is Horegallu? Yes, Horegallu means a stone bench, kal bench. That is Horegallu. Okay, as a stone bench that can bear weight. It can support our weight. It means that kal bench. Okay, that is Horegallu. Horegallu literally means a stone bench that can bear our weight. It was a large flat stone. It was a large flat stone placed horizontally over two vertical ones. So this Horegallu, it was like a large flat stone. It was placed horizontally over two vertical ones, thus making a stone bench. That means it looks like a stone bench. It is really a stone bench. Okay, thus making a stone bench on which anyone would sit and rest a while. So anyone can sit under this banyan tree and they can rest for a while. And they would chat with a fellow traveler and exchange news of the road. So what the travelers would do? Yes, the travelers would exchange news of the road and they would chat with the fellow travelers too. Cool water would be kept in earthen pots. Cool water could be kept in earthen pots. Earthen pots, mankudam. Near the bench and people could quench their thirst. Okay, the people could quench. Quench means daham shamipikya. The people could quench their thirst before going their journeys again or before starting their journeys again. So, what the people would do, the people would quench their thirst before starting their journeys again. So, this Horegallu and this huge banyan tree, it was a very support for the travelers who are passing nearby this Horegallu. So there was a earthen pot kept under the huge banyan tree, and the water in it would quench their thirst. And I am sure similar simple arrangements can be found in villages all over the country. And I'm sure similar simple arrangements can be found in villages all over the country. So you can see simple arrangements in the villages all over the country. It is not only here, it is all over country. It is all over country. The Horegallus are in various parts of our country or in various cities, not cities, villages. Okay, we can see in cities and villages too, those Horegallus. Right. So I am sure similar simple arrangements can be found in villages and all over the country. Next paragraph. The Horegallu in our village hold special memories for me, as it is inextricably linked with my grandfather. So Sudha Murthy says about her childhood days here. The Horegallu in our village hold special memories for me. It gives me special memories, as it is inextricably linked with my grandfather. Because these Horegallus are inextricably linked with my grandfather. Inextricably means, yes, it is very difficult to separate. ഒരിക്കലും മാറ്റാൻ പറ്റാത്ത രീതിയിൽ അത്രയും എന്ത് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്? യെസ്, ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് ഇൻഎക്സ്ട്രിക്കബിളി ലിങ്ക്ഡ് വിത്ത് മൈ ഗ്രാൻഡ് ഫാദർ. ഇൻസെപ്പറബിളി എന്ന് പറയാം അല്ലേ? അത്രയേറെ അടുത്ത ബന്ധമാണ് Horegallu with me and my grandfather. The Horegallu in our village hold special memories for me, as it is inextricably linked with my grandfather. And who was my grandfather? He was a retired school teacher, and he would spend hours every day. My grandfather, he was a retired school teacher, and he would spend many hours every day sitting under the banyan tree. They would sit under the banyan tree for every hour, every day. Okay, so he was a retired school teacher, and he would spend hours every day sitting under the banyan tree and talking to those resting there. And he would talk to the fellow travelers. He would rest there. So he was a relaxation to the travelers who are passing nearby it. Because her grandfather would chat with the fellow travelers, and it would be a great relaxation for the travelers too. And in order to quench their thirst, there was an earthen pot kept there, and there was a Horegallu there. So these all things give great relaxation to the travelers or the villagers who are passing nearby this Horegallu. When I would get tired of playing, I would sit next to him and observe the people he was speaking to and listen to their conversation. When I would get tired of playing, when I was very, very tired of playing, I means who here? Sudha Murthy. Okay, the narrator. When I would get tired of playing, I would sit next to him. Okay, it is an anecdote. That means, yes, Sudha Murthy is telling her stories, her childhood stories. Here, okay, when she was a child. When I would get tired of playing, I would sit next to him and observe the people he was speaking to. And he would observe the people he was speaking to and listen to their conversation. So, Sudha Murthy, when she was a child, she would observe the people and, yes, she would listen to their conversation. And most of them were villages taking a break. Most of them were villages taking a break from their work in the fields nearby. So most of the travelers who are passing nearby this are our villages. They are taking a break from their work in the fields nearby. And they had to walk long distances each day. Each travelers had to walk long distances each day and carrying heavy burdens on their head. Okay, so these villagers would carry heavy burdens on their heads. And tired out by the heat, they would drink the cool water. They would be very tired because of this long journey and carrying the heavy burden over their head. So they would, and tired out of the heat, they would drink the cool water that would be kept in the earthen pots and wash their faces with it and chat with the grandfather. Their conversation would be about their daily lives and worries. So what would be the conversation of them? Yes, their conversation would be, yes, their daily lives and worries. Their conversation means the conversation between the travelers and my grandfather. So their conversation would be about their daily lives and worries. Okay, give me all of you. So next paragraph. Master Ji, the summer has been so hot. I have never seen such a dry weather. Oh, Master Ji, it is getting difficult for me to carry these large hair loads on my head. Thank God for this Horegallu. Master Ji, the summer has been so hot. Okay, so what would the people respond? Yes, the people would respond to her grandfather that, Master Ji, this summer has been so hot. And I have never seen such a dry weather. I have seen such a dry weather. Oh, Master Ji, it is getting difficult for me to carry these large loads on my head. Okay, so the villagers, they would respond that, yes, it is very difficult for them to carry these heavy loads on their head. And thank God for this Horegallu. So they are thanking God for this Horegallu. They are thanking God for this Horegallu. And I wish my son would help me, but he only wants to go to the city. So I wish my son would help me, but he only wants to go to the city. Okay, that will be the response given by who? Yes, the villagers. And they spoke about the difficulties they lived with. They would share their difficulties. They faced so many difficulties in their life. So they would share all these difficulties with the grandfather. Okay, and they would spoke about the difficulties they lived with. My grandfather would only listen to them. But just talking to him seemed to refresh them for the journey. After some time, they would pick up their burdens with some ease and go on their way. So my grandfather could only listen to them, but just talking to him seemed to refresh them for the journey. And after some time, they would pick up their burdens with some ease and go on their way. So what they would do? Yes, they would take a rest for a while, and after getting refreshed, they would pick up their burdens and they would continue their journey. Right. Horegallu was an important feature in their lives, and as a child I would often not understand what they blessed it is so often for being there. The Horegallu was an important feature in their lives. And as a child, I would often not understand. As a child, I would not often understand why they blessed it so often for being there. So most of the people said that yes, this Horegallu is a very much blessing for them. So as a child, Sudha Murthy doesn't understand. Okay, why they are speaking like that? That means why they are speaking this Horegallu is as a blessing to them. As a child, she couldn't understand why they are speaking like that. After all, it was only a stone bench. It was my grandfather who told me. Oh, it was just a stone bench, and most of them are saying that it is a very much blessing for them, isn't it? So it was my grandfather who told me, child, a Horegallu is essential in any journey. Okay, child, Horegallu is essential in any journey. We all carry our burdens according to our situations and capacities. Child, a Horegallu is essential in any journey. We all carry our burdens. We all carry our burdens according to our situations. So her grandfather replied that as a Horegallu is very essential in their journey. We all carry our burdens according to situations and capacities, but every once in a while we need to stop, put down that burden and rest. Okay. After all, it was only a stone bench and it was my grandfather who told me, child, a Horegallu is essential in any journey. We all carry our burdens according to our situations and capacities. So we all carry our burdens according to our situations and capacities. But every once in a while we need to stop. But every once in a while we like to stop. Put down that burden and to take a rest. Only then we be refreshed. Only then can we be refreshed enough to pick up the load once more. Okay. And the Horegallu gives everyone that opportunity to do so. And it will helps people to regain their strength. Yes. That means only then we can be refreshed. Okay, this Horegallu will help us to take a rest for a while and we get it refreshed after a long journey by drinking the cool water that kept in the earthen pot. Okay, the Horegallu gives everyone that opportunity to do so, and it helps people regain their strength. So this Horegallu will help people to regain their strength. Next paragraph. Later on in life, I got to see something that reminded me of that stone bench once again. I was working in Bombay, now Mumbai. One of my colleagues, Ryjaaa, was a senior clerk, middle-aged, and always smiling. She had done her graduation and been working in the company for nearly 25 years. She went about her repetitive mundane work with an infectious cheerfulness. Later in her life, she got to see something that reminded me of that stone bench once again. Okay. നമ്മൾ ഇതുവരെ പറഞ്ഞത് എന്തായിരുന്നു? സുധാ മൂർത്തിയുടെ ചൈൽഡ്ഹുഡ് ഡേയ്സിനെ കുറിച്ചിട്ടാണ്. ഇപ്പം നമ്മൾ പറയുന്നത് ഈ പാരഗ്രാഫ് മുതൽ പറയുന്നത് സുധാ മൂർത്തിയുടെ അഡൽട്ട് ഏജിനെ കുറിച്ചിട്ടാണ്. ഓക്കെ, അവൾ മുംബൈയിൽ വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്ന കാലഘട്ടത്തെക്കുറിച്ചിട്ടാണ് ഈ ഒരു സെക്ഷൻ പറയുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ, നോക്കൂ. Later on in life, I got to see something that reminded me of that stone bench once again. So later in my life, I got to see something that reminded of that stone bench once again in my life. I was working in Bombay. While she was working in Bombay, now it is Mumbai, one of her colleagues, her name is Ryjaaa. Ryjaaa was a senior clerk, a middle-aged woman. Ryjaaa was a senior clerk, a middle-aged woman, and always smiling face. She had done her graduation. And been working in the company. She had done her graduation and been working in the company for nearly 25 years. She had been working in the company for nearly how many years? For 25 years. She went about her repetitive mundane work with an infectious cheerfulness. So she had done her graduation. And she had been working in the company for nearly 25 years. Where is Ratna working? Yes, Ratna is working in a company in Mumbai. And she had been working in that company for nearly 25 years. And the character sketch of Ratna, it is very, very important question. എപ്പോഴും ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ പേപ്പറിൽ കാണുന്ന ഒരു ക്വസ്റ്റ്യനാണ് നമ്മുടെ ഗ്രാൻഡ് ഫാദറിൻ്റെ ക്യാരക്ടർ അനാലിസിസും ക്യാരക്ടർ സ്കെച്ചും രത്നയുടെ ക്യാരക്ടർ സ്കെച്ചും വളരെ ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻറ്റ് സെക്ഷനാണ് കേട്ടോ. രത്നയുടെ ക്യാരക്ടർ നോക്കൂ. രത്ന വാസ് എ സീനിയർ ക്ലർക്ക്, മിഡിൽ ഏജ്ഡ് ആൻഡ് ഓൾവേസ് സ്മൈലിംഗ്. She had done her graduation. But she's a senior clerk, middle-aged woman and always smiling face. She had done her graduation and been working in the company for nearly 25 years, and she went about her repetitive mundane work, a dull ordinary work. She's doing a dull ordinary work with an infectious cheerfulness. യെസ്, എന്താണ് അവളുടെ ഒരു ക്യാരക്ടർ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഇൻഫെക്ഷ്യസ് ചിയർഫുൾനെസ് ആണ്. അതങ്ങനെ പറയാൻ കാരണം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ രത്ന വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്ന സ്ഥലത്ത് ആർക്കെങ്കിലും എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു എന്താ പറയുന്നത് ഒരു വിഷമം വരുന്ന ടൈമിൽ പോലും രത്ന അവർക്ക് എന്തായിട്ട് മാറാറുണ്ട്? ഒരു സപ്പോർട്ടായിട്ട് മാറാറുണ്ട്. അവളുടെ ചിയർഫുൾനെസ് അവൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്യും? അവർക്കത് സ്പ്രെഡ് ചെയ്യും. മനസ്സിലായോ? അങ്ങനെയാണ് രത്ന അവരുടെ ലൈഫിലും ഹൊറിഗല്ലുമായിട്ട് വരുന്നത്. നമുക്ക് നോക്കാം, ഒരുപാട് കാര്യങ്ങൾ പറയുന്നുണ്ട്. Every day during the lunch hour, she would sit with some person in one of the rooms. Every day during the lunch hour, she would sit with some person in one of the rooms. ഇതെല്ലാം രത്നയുടെ ക്യാരക്ടർ സ്കെച്ചിൽ വരുന്നതാണ് കേട്ടോ. എവറി ഡേ ഡ്യൂറിങ് ദ ലഞ്ച് അവർ ഷീ വുഡ് സിറ്റ് വിത്ത് സം പേഴ്സൺ ഇൻ വൺ ഓഫ് ദ റൂംസ്. ആരുടെയെങ്കിലും കൂടെ രത്ന ഇരിക്കുന്നത് കാണാം. ആൻഡ് ദേ വുഡ് ഹാവ് ലോങ് ചാറ്റ്സ്. അവർ പരസ്പരം സംസാരിക്കുകയും ചെയ്യും. And I would often wonder what they talked about. One day, I finally asked Ratna, what are you or what do you talk with each person for the whole lunch hour? So during the lunch hour, we can see that Ratna would sit with any person, with some of the persons, and they would have long chats. So Sudha Murthy got wondered, yes, why are they talking about and what are they talking about? Because during every day, every lunch day or every lunch time, she would find sitting with any person, sitting with persons, some persons, and she would talk with them. എന്ത് മാറ്റർ സംസാരിക്കുന്നത് എന്നുള്ള ആർക്കും അറിയില്ല. Okay, but we can find sitting with the persons, okay, her colleagues or her friends, and they would have long chats. Okay, അതാണ്. Next, one day I finally asked her, Ratna, would you talk with each person for the whole lunch hour? At last I talked to her. Ratna, what are you talking with that person during this lunch hour? Last അവൾ ചോദിച്ചു, സുധാമൂർത്തി ചോദിച്ചു, നീ എന്താ എന്നും ഓരോ ആളുടെ അടുത്തും ഇങ്ങനെ ഇരുന്ന് സംസാരിക്കുന്നത് കാണാലോ, നീ എന്താണ് ഈ സംസാരിക്കുന്നത്? Ratna smiled and said simply, they share their troubles with me. അപ്പോൾ രത്ന എന്ത് ചെയ്തു? ഷീ സ്മൈൽഡ് ആൻഡ് സെഡ് സിംപ്ലി, ദേ ഷെയർ ദിയർ ട്രബിൾസ് വിത്ത് മീ. എന്താ അവർ ചെയ്യുന്നത്? ദേ വുഡ് ഷെയർ ദിയർ ട്രബിൾസ് വിത്ത് മീ. ഓരോ ആളുടെ പ്രോബ്ലംസും രത്നയുമായിട്ട് അവർ ഷെയർ ചെയ്യാറുണ്ട് എന്നാണ് രത്ന പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുള്ളത്. ഓക്കെ, നെക്സ്റ്റ് പാരഗ്രാഫ്. But how can you solve the troubles of so many people? At last I asked her, but how can you solve the troubles of so many people? How can you solve the troubles of so many people? Do you have an answer for them? എങ്ങനെയാണ് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇങ്ങനത്തെ പ്രോബ്ലംസ് സോൾവ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്നത്? Do you have an answer for them? No, I only listen. Ratna replied, no, I only listen to the stories of others. And that is enough. അത് മതിയോ ആളുകൾക്ക്? That is enough. That solves the problem. I was young and incredulous at such a simplicity outlook. So I was young and incredulous. I became doubtful at such a simplistic outlook. ഒരാളുടെ പ്രോബ്ലംസ് എങ്ങനെയാണ് നിങ്ങൾ സോൾവ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് ചോദിച്ചപ്പോൾ രത്ന ആൻസർ ചെയ്യുന്നത്, ഞാൻ അവരുടെ കൂടെ വെറുതെ ഇരിക്കും, അവർക്ക് പറയാനുള്ള സ്റ്റോറീസ് മുഴുവൻ അവർ എൻ്റെ അടുത്ത് സംസാരിക്കും, ഞാനത് കേൾക്കുക മാത്രമേ ചെയ്യാറുള്ളൂ എന്നാണ് രത്ന പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുള്ളത്. അപ്പോൾ അതാണ് ചോദിക്കുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ, ദാറ്റ് സോൾവ്സ് എ പ്രോബ്ലം. നീ കേട്ട് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അവരുടെ പ്രോബ്ലം സോൾവ് ചെയ്യുമോ? And I was young and incredulous at such a simplistic outlook. But Rekna answered with the same patience and affection that she must have used with all my colleagues. But Rekna answered with the same patience and affection that she must have used with all my colleagues. ഓക്കെ, രത്ന എല്ലാവരുടെ ഒരേ രീതിയിലാണ് അങ്ങനെ ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ആൻസർ വിത്ത് ദ സെയിം പേഷ്യൻസ് ആൻഡ് അഫെക്ഷൻ ആൻഡ് ഷീ മസ്റ്റ് ഹാവ് യൂസ്ഡ് വിത്ത് ഓൾ മൈ colleagues. I am not a trained counselor or an intellectual. Last Rekna reply ചെയ്തു, I am not a trained counselor or an intellectual. ഞാനൊരു ഇൻ്റലക്ച്വലുമല്ല, ഒരു ട്രെയിൻഡ് കൗൺസിലറുമല്ല. I am not a trained counselor or an intellectual and no one can solve your problem. You have to do it yourself. So what would be the answer given by Rekna? Rekna said that I am not a trained counselor or an intellectual and no one can solve your problem. Only you can solve your problem. That is the answer given by Rekna. Then how do you help them? By listening to them. How do you help them? By listening to them. Rekna answered, God has given me 2 years to listen to the stories of others. What would be the answer given by Rekna? Yes, God has given me 2 years to listen to others. I hear them out with sympathy and without any judgment. I would hear their stories with the sympathy and without any ജഡ്ജ്മെൻറ്റ്. അവർക്ക് പറയാനുള്ളത് മുഴുവൻ ഞാൻ കേൾക്കും, യാതൊരു ജഡ്ജ്മെൻറ്റും ഇല്ലാതെ അവർക്ക് പറയാനുള്ള മുഴുവൻ സ്റ്റോറീസും ഞാൻ കേൾക്കും. ബിക്കോസ് ഗോഡ് ഹാസ് ഗിവൻ മീ 2 years ടു ലിസൺ ടു ദി സ്റ്റോറീസ് ഓഫ് അതേഴ്സ് എന്നാണ് രത്ന റിപ്ലൈ ചെയ്തത്. When a person in trouble or under a lot of strain finds an outlet for his worries, it relieves half his burden. When a person in trouble or under a lot of strain, a person in trouble or under lot of strain, ഏതെങ്കിലും പേഴ്സൺസ് വളരെ ട്രബിൾഡ് ആവുകയോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ സ്ട്രെയിനിലായിരിക്കുമുള്ള സമയത്ത് they would find an outlet for their worries. അവരുടെ വറീസ് എല്ലാം ഷെയർ ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരു ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരു സോഴ്സ് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അവർ അവരുടെ ഫ്രണ്ട്സുമായിട്ട് അതൊക്കെ ഷെയർ ചെയ്യും. അങ്ങനെ ഒരു ഔട്ട്ലെറ്റാണ് ഇവിടെ ആര്? രത്ന. ഇറ്റ് റിലീവ്സ് ഹാഫ് ഹിസ് ബർഡൻ. അങ്ങനെയാവുമ്പം അവരുടെ സ്റ്റോറീസ് നമ്മൾ കേൾക്കുമ്പോൾ അവരുടെ വേദനകൾ പകുതിയോളം കുറയുമെന്നാണ് രത്നയുടെ അഭിപ്രായം. ഓക്കെ, ക്ലിയർ? നെക്സ്റ്റ് പാരഗ്രാഫ്. I thought for some time and said, but don't you ever break the confidence and tell others the secrets you hear, even by mistake? So I thought for some time and said, but don't you ever break the confidence and tell others the secrets you hear? എന്താ ചോദിച്ചത്? But don't you ever break the confidence and tell others the secrets you hear? നീ കേട്ട സീക്രറ്റ്സ് വല്ലപ്പോഴെങ്കിലും വേറൊരാളുമായിട്ട് ഷെയർ ചെയ്യാറുണ്ടോ? ഈവൻ ബൈ മിസ്റ്റേക്ക്? നോ, നോട്ട് ഈവൻ ഇൻ മൈ ഡ്രീംസ് എന്ന് രത്ന പറഞ്ഞു. No, not even in my dreams. I consider that to be the worst kind of betrayal. So Rekna answered that, yes, it would be the worst kind of betrayal. Which would be the worst kind of betrayal? By sharing the secrets of them to others. That would be the worst kind of betrayal. I don't think there is a greater sin. There is a greater sin than betraying someone's confidence. Okay, I don't think there is a greater sin than betraying someone's confidence. If you share other secrets with anyone else, that would be the worst kind of betrayal. That would be the bad thing. They tell me their worries because why they would tell their stories to me? Because they know that I will never talk about it or gossip about to another person. Their words are safe within my hands. That's why they share their worries to me. They tell their worries because they know that I will never talk about it or gossip about to another person. Only when they know their words are secure with me. Only when their words are secure with me, they can talk to me freely. Only when their words are secure with me, they talk to me freely. This way, I relieve their burden. ഈ രീതിയിലാണ് ഐ റിലീവ് ദിയർ ബർഡൻ ഫോർ എ ഷോർട്ട് വൈൽ ടിൽ ദേ ആർ റെഡി ടു പിക്ക് ദെംസെൽസ് അപ്പ് ആൻഡ് ക്യാരി ഓൺ വിത്ത് ദിയർ ജേർണി. സോ ദിസ് വേ ഐ റിലീവ് ദിയർ ബർഡൻ. Okay, for a short while till they are ready to pick themselves up and carry on their journey. അവരുടെ മീൻസ് വിഷമങ്ങൾ ഒരുപാട് റിലാക്സേഷൻ വരുമ്പോൾ അവർക്ക് എന്ത് ചെയ്യാം? ദേ ക്യാൻ കണ്ടിന്യൂ ദിയർ ജേർണി. ഓക്കെ, നെക്സ്റ്റ് പാരഗ്രാഫ്. Her words uncannily echoed my grandfather's, sitting on the stone bench under the banyan tree. Her words. ആരുടെ വാക്കുകൾ? രത്നാസ് വേർഡ്സ്. ഇറ്റ് അൺകാൻലി, ഇറ്റ് ഇക്കോഡ്. അൺകാൻലി മീൻസ് വളരെ മിസ്റ്റീരിയസ് ആയിട്ട്, വളരെ സ്ട്രേഞ്ച് ആയിട്ട്. ഓക്കെ, ഹർ വേർഡ്സ് അൺകാൻലി എക്കോഡ് മൈ ഗ്രാൻഡ് ഫാദേഴ്സ് സിറ്റിംഗ് ഓൺ ദി സ്റ്റോൺ ബെഞ്ച് അണ്ടർ ദ ബനിയൻ ട്രീ. അതായത് രത്നയും സുധാമൂർത്തിയുടെ ഗ്രാൻഡ് ഫാദറും ഒരുപോലെയുള്ള ക്യാരക്ടേഴ്സാണ്. രണ്ടുപേരും മറ്റുള്ളവരുടെ സ്റ്റോറീസ് കേൾക്കാൻ താല്പര്യപ്പെടുന്ന ആളുകളാണ്. എന്നാൽ അവർ പറയുന്ന സ്റ്റോറീസ് ഇവർ രണ്ടുപേരും വേറൊരാൾക്ക് എന്ത് ചെയ്യാറുമില്ല, ആ സ്റ്റോറീസ് ഒന്നും തന്നെ ഷെയർ ചെയ്യാറോ ഗോസിപ്പ് പരത്താറോ ഇല്ല എന്നതാണ്. രണ്ടുപേരും എങ്ങനെയാണോ പല ആളുകളുടെയും ലൈഫിൽ ഹൊറിഗല്ലൂസ് ഒരു സപ്പോർട്ടാകുന്നത്, അതുപോലെ തന്നെയാണ് ഇവർ രണ്ടുപേരും മറ്റുള്ള ആളുകളുടെ ലൈഫിൽ എന്തായിട്ട് മാറുന്നത്? ഹൊറിഗല്ലു ആയിട്ട് മാറുന്നത്. ഇവിടെയും ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് വരാറുണ്ട്. എങ്ങനെയാണ് ഗ്രാൻഡ് ഫാദറും രത്നയും ഹൊറിഗല്ലു ആയിട്ട് മറ്റുള്ളവരുടെ ലൈഫിനെ സപ്പോർട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നത് എന്നുള്ള ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് വരാറുണ്ട്. ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻറ്റ് ഭാഗമാണ് കേട്ടോ. അപ്പം മൊത്തമായിട്ട് നിങ്ങൾ ഓവറോൾ ആയിട്ട് എഴുതേണ്ടി വരും. Her words uncannily echoed my grandfather sitting on the stone bench under the banyan tree. Perhaps in their own small ways, without access to great wealth, both these people were doing tremendous social service. Her words uncannily echoed my grandfather sitting on the stone bench under the banyan tree. So her words uncannily means strangely, echoed my grandfather sitting on the stone bench under the banyan tree, and perhaps in their own small ways, without access to great wealth, both these people were doing tremendous social service. So both Sudha Murthy's grandfather and Ryjaaa were doing social service. എങ്ങനെയാണ് അവർ സോഷ്യൽ സർവീസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്? They would listen to the stories of others. Okay, and they would not share the stories shared by them to others. Okay, അതായത് അവർ പറഞ്ഞ സ്റ്റോറീസ് ഒരിക്കൽ പോലും വേറൊരാളെടുത്ത് അവർ ഷെയർ ചെയ്യാതെയാണ് മറ്റുള്ളവരുടെ ലൈഫിൽ അവർ ഹൊറിഗല്ലൂസ് പോലെയാകുന്നത്. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അവർ ചെയ്യുന്നത് ഒരു സോഷ്യൽ സർവീസാണ് എന്നാണ് പറഞ്ഞത്. No one. Okay, perhaps in their own small ways, without access to great wealth, both these people were doing tremendous social service. So both these people were doing social service. No one thought of acknowledging their work or rewarding them. രണ്ടുപേരും എന്തെങ്കിലും റിവാർഡാണോ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നത്? No one thought of acknowledging them or rewarding them, but they continued to do so. പക്ഷെ അവർ കണ്ടിന്യൂ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. ആസ് ദീസ് ആക്ട്സ് ഓഫ് കൈൻഡ്നസ് ഗേവ് ദം ജോയ്. ആസ് ദീസ് ആക്ട്സ് ഓഫ് കൈൻഡ്നസ് ഗേവ് ദം ജോയ്. അതവർക്ക് നൽകുന്നത് എന്താണ്? ജോയ് ആണ്. ഇഫ് എവർ നൗ ഐ ഹാപ്പൻ ടു പാസ് എ ഹൊറിഗല്ലു ഇൻ എ വില്ലേജ്, ഇഫ് ഐ എവർ ഹാപ്പൻ ടു പാസ് എ ഹൊറിഗല്ലു ഇൻ എ വില്ലേജ്, ഏതെങ്കിലും എപ്പോഴെങ്കിലും ഒരു വില്ലേജിലൂടെ ഞാൻ ഹൊറിഗല്ലു പാസ് ചെയ്ത് പോകുമ്പോൾ, ഐ റിമെമ്പർ ദം ആൻഡ് വിഷ് there were many more of them in this world. Okay, so whenever I pass a Horegallu in a village, I remember them and wish there were many more of them in this world. അവരെ പോലെ ലോകത്ത് ഇതേപോലെ ഒരുപാട് ആളുകൾ ഇനിയും ഉണ്ടാകും എന്നാര് ചിന്തിക്കാറുണ്ട്? സുധാമൂർത്തി ചിന്തിക്കാറുണ്ട് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടാണ് നമ്മുടെ ബ്യൂട്ടിഫുൾ അനക്ഡോട്ട് സ്റ്റോപ്പ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ, എല്ലാവർക്കും ഇഷ്ടമായെന്ന് വിചാരിക്കുന്നു. താങ്ക് യു ഓൾ. താങ്ക് യു സോ മച്ച്.